start again, we can talk a little bit about where we started and where we are now. We started off with talking more about what meditation is and what it is not, the benefits of meditation, the practice of meditation, the stages of meditation, and then last week we started speaking about the external conditions for meditation, and we showed you how to set up a nice space that is safe, that you can separate, where you can spend your time dedicating your practice. Some people shared some pictures, so thank you for that. And I hope that that was something inspirational for you to create your space. But this week we're going to move into the internal conditions. So now that we've fixed the external conditions, we're now going to start figuring out what has to happen internally to make your meditation even better. And as a surprise, and because we asked you, some of you wanted to know more about the book, and we thought that this was a good space or place in which to link or to talk more about the book, because it is very much about not just creating your internal conditions, but also maintaining them as you go forward. So when we finish with our meditation today, we will have a short question and answer session, and then we'll go into the book. So if you want to stay on a little bit longer, this would be great. If you can't do that, then obviously there will be a recording and you can listen to that as well. So meditations today, the kind of meditations that you did previously, just to remind you, we did the Perfect 10, preparing your meditation. We did watching your thoughts, and we did that twice because it's so important. But today we're going to do one of the two lifelong basic traditional Buddhist meditations that any meditator should have in their toolbox, and that is Tong-Len. That is the meditation of taking and giving, and Sunam is going to take us through that today. But before we get stuck into the external conditions, I wanted to check with all of you, is there anything that you would like to share? And you can do that in the chat, or you can unmute and just share anything that may have happened this week that was wonderful or curious, and that you would like to share with us or the group.
Me?
Yes, go for it.
Yes. When the observer watch my thought, I hear the saying that there is a 66 open in a second, and something says in my mind that. So I just wonder whether that is I am at the present time, and the saying that is of the observer or of the mind, the seat in the mind open. Mm-hmm. I mean that the thought, the seat of thought. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. All right, last chance for anyone to share anything they might. Oh, we've got something in the chat. So Sunam Shuray is saying, as the week goes on, I get more tired and the thoughts more scattered. What do you think about that?
My question would be, do you get enough sleep?
Yeah, probably not is the answer. This is Shari. I get all my sleep on the weekend and then gradually not get enough sleep through the week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think what your experience is really, I know that the more the week goes on, the more Friday is approaching, the more sleep deprived, and then it's really hard to concentrate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Other than more sleep, is there another remedy for that? Should one change the meditation or do it shorter?
That I would give the question back to Sheree. Do you feel bored with the meditation? That could also be a reason. Yes, I agree with Hanli.
Yeah, I don't know if I feel bored. I do have a hard time with the watching my thoughts meditation because I'm so used to trying to focus on an object or a subject. And so then it's very hard for me to sit there and watch the thoughts come up, because I was doing Venerable Sunam, like you said, no thoughts were coming. And I think I was just trying to be so focused, and so then no thoughts were coming. And so I had to try to relax a little bit, or something, I don't know exactly. So then I had thoughts coming, but then it started being all random stuff by the end of the week.
I think that's normal that the thoughts are some kind of random. I think that's normal business. And maybe because you are not used to watch your thoughts, you have the feeling that it is scattered. But the focus in this meditation is really that you keep watching your thoughts. So even if the thoughts are scattered, it's not a bad meditation because you're watching your thoughts.
Okay. And I think I got a little more used to it, and then was able to kind of, do the process of, is it in the past or the present or the future? And then was able to, go through that identification process as well.
Cool.
Someone is offering a suggestion as well to say what has helped for them is to do a little bit of exercise before sitting. So I can imagine from a physiological point of view that could make quite a lot of sense. So maybe that's something to try.
Thank you.
So, and that is a good segue into speaking about what is this inner meditation environment that we talk about, and how do you begin to create, as you're saying, this. It's almost like a flow. So if you look at this picture that we chose, it is being in a state in which you are probably not even sure where something begins or where something ends. Or like this woman is in the bath and she's lying and she's literally just forgotten about everything. She is completely relaxed. She's completely in the moment and just enjoying exactly what is happening at that time, not thinking about her makeup running or her clothes getting wet. I guess she's just enjoying being in the bath and feeling the water on her skin. And that's really what we are trying to get to when we are practicing sitting on the cushion, is that we can begin to get to that beautiful spot where you are perfectly balanced in your mind and nothing is disturbing it. And that's what the practice is for. And remember, this is what we're doing. We are practicing sitting on the cushion, trying to get to that state so that we can get used to it and we can access it more readily, especially when we are also in the outer world. And so the balance between the inner and the outer world becomes really, really important, because what you're practicing is what you will apply in the real world, and what's happening in the real world is something that you'll take back onto the cushion with you. And so these two are influencing each other all the time. So it's important, again, and we said that a few minutes ago, that the surroundings is conducive to creating these inner conditions. So they are not separate from, they are part of the preparation to make sure that you are creating this perfect space that's not going to be distracting, that's going to allow you to find that perfect balance where everything is just quiet and nothing is disturbing you. So start with creating that perfect place. Make sure that it is comfortable, that it is safe, that it is healthy. And remember, that also includes the people that you are going to invite to be in your life and maybe in the meditation session with you, or in the meditation class with you. The following thing to really think about is to manage your wants wisely. And I think Sunam is one of the things that's very important to her.
Yeah. And I choose the picture. It feels a little bit like Diamond Mountain, and then in the middle of this retreat space in the outer world, there is this Prada shop. I really love this picture, because even if you manage to do retreat and you're sitting in your cabin in the beautiful, quiet, magical Diamond Mountain, and if you're in your head is the Prada shop or the Ferrari or whatever you are wanting at the moment, your meditation will not be a focused on. You will always be distracted, and you have always in your thoughts the if and maybe and how can I reach these goals and everything I want in my life. And what we are talking here about, that you manage your wants wisely, that you can have a good meditation, that you can focus in your daily life is not that you don't have any wants at all. We don't say that. It's about with which method you reach your goals and what you want to achieve in life. If you try it the old way, as we say, then you will have hustle and bustle to reach your goals. Your mind will be full of ifs and maybes in your meditation. Oh, should I do this or should I try that to reach my goal or to get my Ferrari or my Prada bag? But if you try to get what you want in your life by planting karma, then your mind will be very relaxed because you plant the karma and then you sit back and relax and enjoy and wait till the result comes to you. And this will influence the peace of your mind during meditation. Incredible. So if you want something, that's why it's manage your wants wisely. If you want something, then simply think about which karmic seeds you need to plant to get it. And then it will come in your life automatically and your mind will be very relaxed. You know that it is working and you don't have all this if and maybes in your mind and these 100 decisions to make. If this decision will get you nearer to your goal or far away, and then really you can have a peaceful meditation.
I think it also speaks a little bit to being content with what you have, right?
Which is the next one.
Exactly. So making sure that what you have is enough, and to decide and choose the frame of mind that says what I have is enough. I do not need another pair of shoes. I do not need another hat, another anything. What I have is good. It is enough. I am well taken care of. And to focus more on being grateful for what you do have rather than focusing on what you don't have or what you might want as well. Because gratitude is one of those things, and research has shown that gratitude is incredibly important for your brain and for having you live a happier life. And so it is something that you can very much practice on a daily basis, is 3 things or 1 thing that you can be grateful for, just to sit for a few minutes and to reflect on that and make sure that you connect with the feeling of gratefulness and remind yourself that what you have is enough, and practicing feeling content as well. Because as you do that, you are making space in your inner environment to set that up so that your practice will flow better and become more natural as you go along.
And also, the more things you own, the more mind space is occupied, which is then really influencing as well if you can have a focused meditation. And my personal tips, if you really want to develop this mindset of being grateful and being happy with 2 pence instead of 150, which normally everybody has at home, I would really recommend maybe you take inspiration by the minimalist blogs. There are beautiful blogs outside which really help you to develop this gratefulness for what you have and having 1 or 2 things of each and not hundreds. So my personal recommendation, the blogs I love to really develop this mindset, is Be More with Less and ZenHabits.org. They are quite famous. Most of them are influenced by the Zen Buddhism. But I think what they really get right is the being content and having gratitude for what you have in your life.
Awesome. Those are great examples. Thank you. But as you also become content with what you have in your outer world, it is important that you live a pure and ethical life so that you can have that clean space in your mind and in your heart as well. Because as Sunan was explaining how important it is to have less or be content with less or keep things really simple, the way to do that with your mind is to make sure that you live a clean and ethical life. Otherwise, if you are on the cushion and you are practicing your meditations, a lot of those things start cluttering your mind or get in the way of your meditation. So living in pure and ethical life is very much about creating an inner world in which there is calm and peace, and nothing is scratching at the door of your mind or bothering you while you are sitting in meditation, because that will take your focus away from what you should be practicing. You could probably still use the watcher when that is happening, but you will find that if you are living a pure and ethical life, those kinds of things that will disturb your inner world while you are trying to practice will become less. And here is where the book will also come in very, very useful a little bit later on, and we'll explain exactly what that link is between this particular slide and the book itself.
Mm.
The next thing that I think is very important is that you get your priorities right and focus on what matters. It's very often, I think, that we get distracted with meaningless chatter or talking about, the royals or whatever it may be. So there's all this chatter going on around us, and the world around us is set up in that way to distract us and to entertain us, because as human beings, we are curious and we like novelty and we like being entertained. And so the world of media is set up certainly to distract ourselves. And often we'll get into conversations, I think, with people that are not particularly meaningful, and it might distract us again from focusing on what really matters in the long run. And it's so to think about how you would get into those kinds of conversations or thought patterns that are useless and meaningless, really. They're not actually taking you somewhere. And that might be something that is also going to disturb your mind when you are trying to keep that beautiful balance, or be in that bath where that woman was, where she was lying in that perfect moment. And so this is an important one to watch for all the time, just because our world is constructed to take away our focus on what really matters. Mm. And speaking of that, it's very important when you are doing your meditation, not only to manage your outer world by switching off your phones and any devices that might be in your way, but to do that maybe in the time, not only when you're meditating, but perhaps another time in the day. So maybe for 15 minutes a day when you're meditating, you're switching off all your devices, but choose another time where you just begin to break this addiction that we have to our phones, our televisions, our email, all the things that are structured in our life to distract us. I think it's very important to begin to practice how to detox from a lot of these technological devices that are very useful and very helpful to our lives, but sometimes they act as distractions as well.
For me, for the last 2 points, this what is important, do what matters, and this internet addiction, as you said, both have beautiful things which are really helpful and useful. Like we are all sitting here together all over the world. Without the internet, that would not be possible. We are, I think, really using it for a good purpose. I try, especially with the internet addiction, the question I'm asking myself, if I'm wasting my time or being in the internet addiction, is am I producing or am I consuming? Am I looking for certain information because I use it to produce something? Or am I using the Zoom call to speak about beautiful meditation and share it with other people? Or if I'm on Facebook, I ask myself the question, am I only consuming? And then for me, it's clear, this is for me where I waste my time. I started even to put on a timer. When I'm on Facebook, I have my 15 minutes timer, then I allow myself 15 minutes to soar down the Facebook alley. But after 15 minutes, I just turn it off, because otherwise, I don't know about you, but suddenly 2 hours are over and you don't even notice that 2 hours are over. In former times, we have been sitting in front of our TV with the remote and switch channel every 10 seconds, and 2 hours have been over. And yeah, and that's the same that can happen with Facebook. So I try to limit it either to time or really to ask myself, am I only consuming for fun? Yeah.
No, and that's totally true. And then it comes back to focusing on what matters. So, so in terms of the external conditions, to summarize it, it's creating that perfect place, managing your wants wisely, being content and grateful with what you have, connecting with the gratefulness, living a pure and ethical life, focusing on what matters, and managing your device time wisely as well, and to make sure that you are, as Simon quite rightly says, that you are producing and not consuming.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on to today's meditation, what have you got in store for us, Sunam?
Tong-Len. It's the long all-time meditation is Tong-Len. It's about taking and giving, and this meditation is really the first one which you learn. It is given to even 4 or 5-year-old monks, and it will be your meditation all over your life. And the longer you do it, the deeper you get, the more you appreciate it, the more you feel how it influences yourself and how you create beautiful seeds to change the people and the world around you to the better. It's a meditation, it's taking and giving. And interesting, just as a side note for the ones who are interested in Tibetan, Tong-Len in Tibetan is giving and taking. And in the translation, we reversed it in taking and giving, because that's the procedure in the meditation itself. So with the taking in the meditation, we are taking the suffering of a person away. So this is the method how we can develop compassion. Compassion is defined as taking the suffering of other people away. We see somebody suffering and we just want to stop that suffering. And this is the first part of the meditation. We are imagining a person who is suffering sitting next to us, or we imagine them sitting on a bed or on a chair, and we see their suffering. And the suffering is manifesting as black smoke. And with our breath, we are gathering all the smoke in this person in their heart as some kind of black lump. And then with our breath, we are getting this black lump of suffering out of the person's body, and then it's in front of our nose sitting there, and we make the decision. We have so much compassion for this person that we are willing to take this suffering on ourselves, that the other person can be free of suffering. That is real compassion. And what happens next in the meditation is that we breathe in this black lump, and it will meet in our heart where a beautiful rose and a diamond is. And as soon as this black lump meets the diamond, the suffering somehow explodes in beautiful light, because we have made the decision to take on this suffering. The suffering disappears totally. And so all of the suffering is destroyed. And that's very important during the meditation, that you really destroy all of the suffering. And if there even is the slightest piece of suffering left over in your body, you breathe it out. That's very, very important, that really you destroy all of the suffering. So that's the first part, where we take the suffering out of our compassion. We take the suffering on ourselves, and then we destroy it. And then the second part is giving, which is The definition of love is that we give other people happiness. So in the second part of the meditation, we send this person everything they want, everything they wish for to make them happy. So with this meditation, we develop compassion, take away the suffering of other people, and we develop love, give them everything that they are happy. So let's start. One more note before we start, sorry. I would like to do Tong-Len today, that you do this Tong-Len with yourself, like with your future self in 24 hours. So you can imagine all the suffering, all the pain which you anticipate you might experience in the next 24 hours. So not to confuse you about whom I'm talking about. So when I say I or you, it's you in the present doing the meditation. When I say future self, your future self, this is the person you are imagining. This is your future self in 24 hours, which you are visualizing sitting in front of you.
Okay, so just to be sure, so I am thinking about myself now and I'm doing the meditation, but the person I'm going to visualize is the person tomorrow, but it's still me.
It's only in 24 hours.
Okay, great.
Okay, let's start. So sit upright. And as usual, we start with focusing on our breath to get our mind into meditation mode. Park your concentration on the tip of your nose. And watch the breath going out and coming in. Now we start the meditation, taking and giving. Visualize yourself in 24 hours, sitting in front of you. And imagine the suffering you might have tomorrow. Maybe you have pain in your body, back pain. Or you had a long and tough day at work. Maybe you're worried about losing your job. You know what kind of problems you might have tomorrow. Now look inside your chest. And you see, instead of a heart, a beautiful red rose. And inside the rose, there is a sparkling diamond. The rose represents your love and compassion. And the diamonds, your knowledge about emptiness. Now focus again on your future self. Imagine all your pain or your sadness, your worries, as black. It's like a black cloud filling your future self. But with your willpower, you draw all the darkness to your future, to the heart of your future self. All the pain, all the worries gather in the heart as a black lump. And now make the decision that you take all this suffering onto your present me. Really have this strong feeling that you take on the suffering of your future self now. I will take the suffering Now come back to your breath. And with your breath, you draw this black tar in the heart of your future self out of them. The lump moves up towards the throat. Into their mouth. The mouth opens and the lump comes out. And wanders towards you. And then it hovers under your nostrils. Again, you are taking this suffering. You are willing to take the suffering now that you are free of it tomorrow. Focus once more on the rose, the love and compassion in your heart, and the diamond. And I will then count to 3. And with the next in-breath, you breathe in the lump. And when it touches the diamond, it will explode into light. Okay, let's start. 1, 2, 3. Lump goes down, diamond touches light. Maybe there is a little bit of smoke left over in your heart. Breathe it out. Everything is light. Nothing dark left. All the suffering is destroyed. All that pain is completely gone. It will never hurt me in the future. It will not hurt me now. And now look into the face of your future self. Your future self is completely free of pain, of worries, of sadness. All problems are gone. And then you can see how a smile appears on your face, on the future self. Enjoy. Out of compassion, we have taken away the pain, and we already can see it on the face of our future self. But now, out of love, we are sending everything we wish for. Again, look into your chest on the rose and the diamond. And the diamond begins to sparkle with warm golden light. And when you breathe, this golden light goes with your breath to your future self and fills the body of your future self. Breathe steadily with every breath. Send the golden light to your future self. And now look into the face of your future self, how happy it is. They are filled with the feeling of happiness and love. Your future self is ready to tackle the world. Then come back to your breath. Send this golden light with your breath as well to your family, to your friends, to your community, to the world. When you're ready, open your eyes, stretch. Tong-Len has many, many aspects, has many, many variations. And I decided that to start this week with doing Tong-Len on yourself. And if you do it in the morning, really go over your mind what difficult situations you might experience and take that pain already in the morning on you. And also for beginners, it's much easier to do it with yourself. This love and compassion to take on the suffering of other person takes time to develop. So that's why we are doing this week, the one with yourself, which is beautiful. I totally love it. It will change your day totally the next 24 hours because you already have destroyed all the suffering of the day. And then we go on to people we love. Then if that is nice, to neutral people, and then even to people you might have trouble with. Another very common variation is, for example, if you have headache, to do it with all people who have headache at the moment. So there are so many variations. It is a lifelong practice, but I think to do it with your future self is a beautiful start, and also quite easy to have this love and compassion for yourself.
Thank you. That was amazing. And I've never done it with my future self. So that for me was something new as well. I've always done it with other people. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
New feather in the cap. Wonderful. So we have now practiced the first round of Tong-Len, and we're going to do that a few more times as Sunam says. And then after that, we'll move on to the preliminaries in the weeks to come. If you're wondering about what's happening next week, we are going to be focusing on the correct posture and also the 4 steps. So that's something that is added. You wouldn't have seen that in the beginning, but that's something that you guys asked for. So we're going to do that next week as well. Now let's talk about homework. All right, so this week, 13 minutes only, please. So reset your alarm clocks for 13 minutes. You're going to be practicing Tong-Len. I'm pretty sure you may have to go back to, if you haven't done this often, you may have to go back to the recording, which we'll post, just to guide you through it each time. Sunam, I don't know if there's something that we can share, a written version of it that we can share perhaps, if anyone wants that, or not sure.
I can create a short 5, like only the main steps to follow. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be really helpful. Great, thank you. Remember your meditation journal. I'm going to assume that all of you are still keeping that. So write down the date of the meditation, the prevailing problem, what you were struggling with while you were meditating, maybe sleepiness, maybe distraction, maybe scatteredness, what kind of action you took to remedy that. Okay. And then one thing you learned or realized during that meditation, or maybe before. So just something that you can take with you. So that is the homework for this week.
30 minutes for a Tong-Len meditation is not too much. So you really need to keep going in the process that you really finish in 13 minutes. And if you want to have maybe stay on certain points a little bit longer, so then really do it at the points where you see the face lightening up after you have taken the suffering or giving the golden light. So if you want to rest on several points in the meditation a little bit longer, do it on the positive aspects and try to get over the gathering, the black smoke and lumps more or less really in a straightforward way. Don't indulge in the suffering, please.
Good point. Good point. Very good. I wanted to check in, does anyone have any questions that they might want for clarification about the homework, or maybe anything else that's come up since we started that you would like to ask about? We'll give you a minute or so to share, and then we're going to move on to the book after that. So I have a question. If I go through the Tong-Len practice faster than 13 minutes, do I just start again? Or do I have to try and time it just right?
Oh, I know what you mean. You have set your timer, you are ready, and the clock has not yet done. I just would stay in this sending the golden breath to the person, to your future self. Yeah.
Okay. Great. We do have a question that is from Louisa. I get a pain in my knees when I meditate. What would be your recommendation?
Sit on your chair. Do you even get it when you're sitting on the chair, or only when you try to sit on the floor?
When I try to sit on the floor.
Then we are talking about posture in the next class. The quick solution you might try for this week, really use a cushion which is higher, that your hip is a little bit elevated more. That might help a lot. The second one is check if you are leaning forward and putting extra weight on the knees. So maybe also double check if your spine is really upright and not leaning forward.
Okay, I sit already on a cushion and that is higher, but somehow I get a lot of pain in my knees. I am not sitting in lotus. I am just sitting with the legs a bit crossed, but both on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kicks me out after 5 minutes because the pain is very strong.
Then maybe try really double check if you're leaning forward and putting extra weight. The legs should only carry their own weight. So really make sure that you are not leaning forward, because then you are putting extra body weight on the knees.
Okay.
And if that does not help, maybe really try to do it on a chair.
Something that I did after years is I tried. Well, eventually I just realized there's no way that I'm going to be able to sit cross-legged. It's just everything is just too difficult for my body. So I ended up sitting on my knees, sort of more Japanese style, and then got one of those little chairs to sit on as well. And I found that worked really well for me. So I don't know if that's an option as well to consider.
And Luisa, if your knees are in the air, are they touching the floor or are they in the air?
No, they are touching the floor, but I get pain in the ligaments on the side of the knees.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got the recommendation to go higher, like the cushion should be higher, but it got worse.
Oh, maybe the cushion should be lower.
Yeah, so I will try. And I don't want to sit on a chair because then how I can train myself to do the lotus at some point. So I should.
Yeah.
I wanted to start slowly. Therefore, yeah. If I sit in a chair, of course, I don't get any pain. But when I just sit crossing legs a bit, but both legs on the floor, then I get the pain. Okay, I will try what you suggested.
Yeah, really try if you are leaning forward and putting extra weight on them. Yeah.
Well, maybe try that this week and tell us next week how it went.
Okay.
Very good. Anyone else with a question or something to share?
Me, please.
Go first.
Thank you very much for this beautiful meditation. I feel great. Yeah, it was awesome. And I just practiced Tong-Len with the other person. But when I start doing it, I was thinking in someone, but then starts to come other people like, oh, but yeah, he also and she also. And then I started to think, and so is it good or should I keep focus on one person?
No, it's not necessarily. It's really a very common variation of Tong-Len that you pick like all the people who have headache, all the people who have lost their job due to Corona, all the people who broke up with their relationship. So you can pick one kind of suffering and take it from all people who have this kind of suffering.
Okay, yeah, because I think, sorry, she has a headache and he has no work, and so I start to.
Then it gets some kind of scattered. So I would really try to either focus on one person or focus on one type of suffering. Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you have more questions, pop them in the chat. We'll try and get them towards the end, but let's move on to the book.
Yeah. And since we know that we are quite over time, so please feel free to leave if you only have scheduled 45 minutes or an hour we are already into, and maybe hear it in the recordings. Otherwise, we proceed with the book. The book is one of the core practices in our lineage. And it has so many aspects. For me, one of the main aspects is if you do your book, you're taking care immediately of the karma. You are boosting the good karma, and you are taking care of the bad karma in removing it. So if you do the book over several weeks, months, years, you are taking care of your karma, and you automatically make the good karma boost and the bad karma getting less. So this will influence you overall. On the other side, you can keep your ethics, because we are checking our main ethic behavior in the book several per day. So it really keeps you and reminds you to keep your ethics. And on the other side, it is also reminding you, depending on how often you do it, 3, 4, 5, or 6 times per day, it reminds you to see your world, your actions, and your thoughts with the correct worldview, which means emptiness and cause and result. And it helps you to, you will keep your book well if you take the skills acquired in meditation. You will do your book very well because you are aware what you are thinking of. You can apply the correct view of emptiness and cause and effect to your daily life. And on the other side, as Hanli already presented, leading an ethical and pure life will influence your meditation. And if you do your book, you will automatically improve in that aspect. So it will also influence your meditation. That's the booster, how these go along. Meditation boosts your book boosts your meditation, and you're on the upward spiral. So the central topic in the book in general is that you several times a day, you check, as said, your behavior, your thoughts, what you have, your speech. And we are calling this the 10 virtues or the 10 non-virtues, which is the core ethics in Buddhism. And Han Li will explain what are these 10 core ethics we are talking about.
Thanks. Thank you. Yes, exactly. So you would probably have seen them stated in the negative way. And one of the things that we know about the brain is the brain doesn't always know the difference between saying something negatively and positively. So one of the reasons we then reframe this to be in the more positive is to keep you focused on the positive. So for example, it would be refraining from killing, which we turn into protect life. So those are the ways that I'll go through each of them for you. The second would be not stealing. This would be respecting people's things, right? Or not taking what you were not offered. We would also talk about not doing sexual misconducts. We've changed this into respecting other people's partners and their relationships. Not lying has gone to speaking truthfully. Not using divisive talk has gone to saying things that bring other people together, not splitting them up. Not using harsh words. We've positively reframed that to say speak kindly and sweetly. Not indulging in useless talk. We've turned that into say only meaningful things. Not craving. We've turned into celebrate other people's success and successes. Not indulging in ill will against other people. We've changed into sympathize with other people's problems. And the last one was don't hold a wrong view. We've changed that into have a correct worldview. So these are the 10 that you are constantly going to be practicing using the book, and you will see that they are divided into body, speech, and mind. And you'll see how they have been clustered up to make it easy for you. So you are constantly being aware of some of the physical things that you might have to be focused on, like protecting life, respecting other people's things and their relationships or their partners. Or you might have to focus more on your speech aspect. Are you speaking truthfully? Are you saying things that bring people together? Are you speaking sweetly and kindly? And then from a mind perspective, you may have to watch yourself. Am I actually focusing and saying only meaningful things? Am I celebrating other people's successes? Am I sympathizing with others' problems? And am I holding the correct view? And the correct worldview is one of these that is the most important, is to make sure that your correct worldview is held at all times, because it tends to govern and guide some of the other aspects as well, other principles that you have on this page. So focus very much on that karma and emptiness piece, which is the worldview that is so important. I don't know if you would like to say anything more about that, Sunam.
What I found so intriguing when I read them the first time is that they are over all religions more or less the same.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a Christian, you can see the 10 Commandments there. If you are Muslim, you have, I don't know how it's called in Muslim, but it's really over all religions the same. And also these are the top 10, they are called also, because these are the ones we are doing all the time. So it's really worth tracking it if you want to improve there.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you do your book? First of all, you need a book. And I like this Superman thing, because it's about you are developing in the person you want to be if you do it every day, every few hours. And as said, it's called 6-time book, but I would highly recommend start with 3 times a day. So what do you do if you are keeping the book and you try to improve the way you behave, the way you talk, and the way you think? In the morning, you take your book, and it can be that size, it can be a smaller one, especially men love the small ones that they fit in the pocket of a shirt or the pant, and then you load your book. I explained here the version for the 3-time book. So you draw 3 boxes, and you take from the 10 virtues 1 of the body, 1 of the speech, and 1 of the mind. That is a version I would recommend to do. So that you have every day 1 of body, 1 of speech, and 1 of mind.
Anna, you had a question?
Sorry, and no, it's because I was watching the other slide, and I think you have moved it, but now I realized it's 1 body, 1 speech, and mind.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we put it on this slide. So then you load your book, you write on the first day, protect life in the first box, in the second box, which is wrongly numbered with 1, speak truthfully, and in the third box, say only meaningful things. On the following day, you would pick the second 1 of body, the second 1 of speech, and the second 1 of mind. And on the third day, the third 1 of each, and then start over again. I like to also include into my book my meditation journal, and which is very, very common, and which is somehow only transferred orally between in our lineage, also include a gratitude journal, which is also part of the meditation environment. Be grateful. So I set it up in the morning with these 3 boxes, and what I do at the end of the day or after the meditation, and then I go into my day. So the next point now is to find 3 times of the day where you fill out these boxes. I know people who have alarm clock on their phone and they do it when the alarm clock rings. That is one version, which drives me crazy because it's always ringing when I'm in the middle of somewhere. So I combined it with eating. Every time when I eat, I do a book entry. So it depends on you and your life and how your day is going, but normally it would be nice if you do 3 times a day, do one during lunchtime, do one late afternoon, and do one before you go to bed or after dinner. What are you doing if it is time? Okay, first day, it's lunchtime, and in my boxes, protect life. What am I doing? Where the pluses, I write down something which I have a really good karma I have planted regarding protect life. What have I done today to protect life? Yes, I know what I have done. I went with the bicycle to the supermarket instead using the car. So I think I have protected life because today I have used the car. One of my favorites is I have not invited somebody to a coffee. I invited him to a fresh juice. Or I picked up a banana peel that nobody falls over. So really be creative. Write everything down. And don't really the small things. We know that karma is growing. And especially here with the book, you write it down and then you do some kind of small coffee meditation at the same time. You're really happy that you have done it. This waters the seed. So don't forget to write the plus down, even if it is small, water it, be happy that you have done it, and you take care of that karma and make it big and powerful. The next one is the minus. What bad karma have I planted regarding not protecting life? Let me think about it. Anybody else an idea? But that's a good sign because you will experience that very often, that you sit there and think, oh, I don't remember. Have I done something bad about it? So if you can think about it, what you have done regarding it, it's a plus or a minus in the last 24 hours. Just go back in time. What have I done this week where I have not protected life?
Probably something that I ate.
Oh, karma is mostly about other people.
Emptiness.
Oh, you mean you have eaten maybe meat?
Yeah.
Okay, now I got your hint. Thank you. Got it. But that, oh, now I have also, I hoovered, and in the moment we have so many insects because it's summer, and I sucked up a few of these insects on my porch, I admit and confess. That is what you do in your minus. You write it down, and then you do some kind of the 4 powers. You really say, I'm really sorry that I have done it. And then it leads automatically to the 3rd entry, which is the action. You think about a makeup action because you have done and created bad karma. To balance it out, you think about something which you can do to plant another good karma regarding protecting life. So for me, with I hoovered insects, so my action would be okay for the next week, especially when it's really this very hot days where we have a lot of insects inside. I would not hoover, I would use an old-fashioned broom because that's really very, very insect friendly. Maybe Anna, you can share with me what you would write down as an antidote.
Yeah. Or maybe you can put like soda or water with sugar outside.
Oh yeah, that's also a nice
one. Yeah. Now, I was thinking that the fleece for the dogs, So I'm using some medicine. We have to put on their skin. And I was thinking to plant new flowers to attract new insects.
Yeah, yeah, nice. Love it. Yeah. And that's it. So really to fill out the box, it should not take you 10 minutes. It should be done after 1 or 2 minutes. Just think about what have I done in the last 24 hours, which good karma have I planted regarding the topic protect life, which bad karma have I planted, and the action. Like I decide now to plant good karma regarding this action. And this action is one of the most important things, and here my recommendations are several. Only write down something which you really can do till end of the day. I meanwhile write down only things which I can do in the next 2 hours till I do my next entry. Because otherwise you end up at the end of the week and you have a list of good deeds you have to do for the rest of your life. So please make it small actions, make it actions you can maybe do even in the next 5 minutes or 2 hours, but latest till end of the day. I check at the end of the day really off which ones I have done. And another recommendation which I noticed talking to many people about the book, there are 2 types of persons out there. There is the first type of person who really writes down actions which they are doing in the world, like giving somebody a glass of juice, like making care that the insects are not getting died when I clean my floor. And then there is the other type of person who are doing the action mainly in their mind. Like, oh, I wish these insects all the best from deep of my bottom. Or in the maybe when it comes to speech, if I have criticized somebody, then it would be a very beautiful antidote to think in your mind about 3 or 4 beautiful qualities you see in that person. So my recommendation to you would be, make it 50-50. That 50% of your actions is really something which you do where you really plant good karma with another person in the world outside in your body. And the other 50% make change how you think about others or what you wish others. So then this antidote would influence how you act and also how you think. So balance out somehow your type of personality by making sure that 50% of the antidotes are really in the world and maybe the other 50% are in your thoughts, that you change your thinking about others.
I think that's really important, because I think we tend to forget that the action of our mind is as powerful as our actual actions, right?
And sometimes it's more difficult to change how you think than doing something. I can give somebody orange juice, a fresh pressed orange juice, and in my mind, you don't want to know what I think about. Exactly. So that's why I think you really are changing your ethics then also in your thinking, which might be even more difficult than in your outer actions.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you do that 3 times a day, lunchtime, late afternoon, and before you go to bed, or what choose the time which fits you. If you can keep the 3 times book over several weeks very stable, so that you say, oh yes, 80% of the time I can do my entry, then maybe add the 4th box. If you can keep that for several weeks, very good, add the 5th one. And so you work your way up till the final version, which is a 6-time book, which means more or less every 2 and 2.5 hours. And also really have always in mind when you fill your box, the correct worldview. So always see it from the point of view of which karma have I planted. Be happy if you have planted good karma, because it will bring you good result. If you have planted a bad karma, then really regret it. Do your makeup action, and then it's also gone. It will free your mind somehow if you take care of your bad actions immediately. So always have really karma, cause and result, and emptiness in mind if you fill out your box, because that it is about. It should remind you about your worldview, and it's some kind of karma management tool. You take care of the good ones and the bad ones. There are several options out there. I recommended you take one of body, speech, and mind every day. You can also do, if you have the feeling there is one of these 10 which you really should work on very intensely, you could even use one of the 10 3 times a day. But I warn you, that's tough. You will might need a rest after 2 or 3 days. So make the book your own. After 4 weeks, check it. Has it worked? Have there been certain times where there's always nothing, empty box? Then maybe reschedule the time when you do your box. Or you find out every time when I write down number 5, say things that bring people together, I never have a plus there. So maybe sit down for half an hour and make a plan how you can plant good karma regarding this. So I highly recommend after 4 weeks, go through your book and check out what you need to change, what you might want to improve on, or maybe what have not worked. Maybe you figure out the 3-time book is too much for me, I only get 2. Then maybe do for 4 weeks only a 2-time book. But then you don't feel guilty because you have not filled the 3rd box.
Yeah. I think that's a really wonderful tip to give all of us, because it's so easy sometimes to not get it right and then think, I'll just leave the whole thing. It's too hard.
No. And I still have days when at the end of the day, I'm happy if I have filled 4 of my 6 boxes. And I don't feel guilty about it. I just try to figure out what kept me from doing it. Mm-hmm. I think that's the beauty of Tibetan Buddhism. The word guilty does not exist. Just look at yourself like a scientist watches an insect. Watch yourself. Why has it not worked? So what do I need to change to make it easy for myself?
And that's also another great one that you've offered that I haven't tried before, which I am going to try, is maybe just to take one the whole day, and then the next day take another one the whole day, because sometimes I find that jumping between them for me doesn't feel deep enough for me sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I like to think about things a lot. So I'm going to try that and see if that works. Yeah.
What I often do is when I fill my box, I check what's written in the next box. And then you automatically are more aware in the next hours about what goes along with that one. Mm-hmm. In some description also say at the end of the day, you could also add another 3 plus and minuses, which are not related to the one in the box. So there are so many versions out there. That's why I recommend start with the simpler one and then expand it after time, over time, not after time, over time. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have done this one topic in all boxes for several days, and normally there is after 3 or 4 days I don't know, that it's some kind of the courage is gone, that I look into my own face, that I'm doing so many bad things regarding this one topic. But it helps you to get very sensitive which kind of bad karma you are planting regarding one topic. Yeah. So it's really worth an experiment, how long you can stand it.
Okay, I'll try.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can highly recommend the book. It really keeps you going. A lot of you, I see it on the participants, you also might have refuge vows or layperson vows or bodhisattva vows or ordained vows. So it will get bigger and bigger. The book you have to put in there, and sometimes it takes half a year till you get through one round. But I think that's really the beauty. Then I normally, if you have more like bodhisattva vows is quite a lot vows, then maybe decide, okay, in the first box I do the 10 virtues, in the second box I do my refuge vows, in the third box I do my layperson vows, in the fourth box you put your bodhisattva vows, in the fifth box you put your most prevalent thing you want to work on or whatever. So really make it your own, and after 4 weeks check it, what needs to be changed, that it is easy for you to keep it. And all the people I have seen who started the book, latest after 1.5 years, they started shining. It's really, it's you take care of your karma immediately. I don't know if the ones who are keeping the book can confirm it, but in the first month and years, I cleaned up a lot of bad karma, which I have done 10, 20, 30 years before, all my teenage sins and whatever. Really, they are coming up when you think about it. And then you take care of it and you clean it. And that makes you shine like this beautiful woman after 1.5 years. And I just can confirm, everybody who has started the book and keeps it, so oh la la, we say, you will have this effect. It will keep you up on your happiness spiral in an incredible, quick, short amount of time. Yeah. Questions?
So something that I noticed while everyone is thinking, you mentioned coffee meditation. Someone might listen to this and not know what that means. I don't know if you want to do a quick explanation.
Coffee meditation is very quick. It's being happy about doing good things. And that's what we are doing exactly when we write down the plus. We are writing down a good deed we have done, and we are happy about it. So that's the quick explanation.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good.
If you don't have any questions now, you're very welcome, as always, to reach out via email and send your questions as they come up during the week. So that's also an option. Sorry, Sonama, I interrupted you. Carry on.
No, I'm just wanted to switch to the next slide. Thank you so much. We are looking forward to see you next Saturday. I would like especially everybody who is participant and was so kind to donate to Diamond Mountain. You know that we are not having retreats in the moment. It's really a tough time for us in the moment. And if you would like to show your appreciation for this course, we would be happy if you would support Diamond Mountain with the running expenses we have.
Yeah, it's important for you all to know this class is for free, but it would be lovely if you could contribute to Diamond Mountain itself. Awesome, thank you very much, and thank you, Sunam. That was an excellent class today. We really appreciate you all being here, and we hope that you're going to enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we'll see you next week.